Okay, so I finished my degree in Portuguese and English teaching, but I understood that I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to have this status of being a teacher, of teaching in a one-way direction. So when I finished the degree, a friend of mine talked to me and said, come to the youth association, and maybe you can teach kids to Portuguese or English or whatever, and you can also do activities. So I start going to this youth association here in Aguada do Baixo, that's near Águeda, and I never left because there was this part of teaching Portuguese or English in a non-formal environment, okay? But there was also the activities that we can do outside the formal learning. We could play sports, we can talk truly with one another, we can develop projects and so on. I think that I started youth work when we were in the youth association, and we understood there was a program called Youth in Action. So what was that? So the English was easy for me. They decided, okay, so maybe you should go to a training on that, see what's all about. And I started going to trainings in the national association, national agency, Portuguese one, and also the Salto platform. And that made a click in my mind and made a click in the association because, of course, I don't have a formal education on youth work, but I gathered the information by myself. I experienced, I talked with young people, I experimented. I also made mistakes, and it's normal. But the whole point is that youth work grew on me. And I believe I'm a youth worker. I don't know from how long, or I don't know if from the beginning, maybe before being a youth worker, I was a youth worker. But I began then being a youth worker. And I think the essential part is that the willingness to be better, to learn more, to experiment, to talk with them, mostly talking with them and learning about yourself too. So yeah, I don't have a formal degree in youth work, but I believe I'm a youth worker because I try to, and I really try hard to be better every day.
Yeah, I used to be in the Boy Scouts when I was younger. I was something like 10 years already from the really small kid, and then I spent my first or my younghood. I spent in the Boy Scouts, and already back then I started to have an idea that I would like to do something like that in my work life also. Then I like to be really much time. I like to spend really much time in the forest and doing different kind of Boy Scout activities, hiking and camping and so on. But the basic idea to work with the young people was already in my head over then. And then when it came my turn to apply for the schools, I made the decision, and there I am nowadays as a youth worker. It's totally different what I thought it would be, but I haven't regret any day or any hour that I applied to be a youth worker to study.
I became as a youth worker in 2001 and 2002 when I was in a 2-year long program for leadership and youth work done by Swedish School of Communication. Throughout the program done in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I was a participant in this program for 2 years, and since then I'm practicing youth work basically on the daily basis. Even my current position is not youth worker in KULT. I still do a lot of youth work when working with young people, and I would say I do a lot of youth work practices and methodologies also with the policymakers, because you can actually do a lot what you gain as a youth worker in a policy field as well. The way you can organize meetings, introduce non-formal education, introduce youth work tools, in a very formal setting can be very helpful.
I made a step to youth work and youth policy from the volunteering activities. I was a volunteer on different social activities. We helping old people. We helping to deal with animals, homeless animals in Novosibirsk. We deal with different issues in our territory. And also I was a sport volunteer on different events such as Universiade in Kazan in 2013 and Olympic Games in Sochi. So I have different background of volunteering activities, and it helps me to feel problems, to be empathy to these problems and to these people, and have a desire to help to solve some problems in which I can help. So it was my background, and that's why maybe I'm on this position now. First, I was a volunteer, then I stand team leader, then I stand coordinator in volunteering movement in Novosibirsk region, and then I had a suggestion to be a official youth worker. Sorry for my maybe some mistakes in English language, but I started to work in youth center, local municipal youth center in Novosibirsk city, and having 2 years by working there, I started working for government in government of Novosibirsk region in youth department. Firstly, I was a usual specialist in this department, and then I have some movement in this structure, deputy head of this department division, sorry, and then 1 years ago I take a position of the heads of this division.
Yes, my journey started 10 years ago in 2011. I was participating in a short-term volunteering project in the Netherlands with Olli Foundation. It was a short-term project where mainly I was volunteering in random organizations around the area that we were, and in that moment it clicked to me. Non-formal learning and non-formal education, it was and it still is one of my most life-changing experience I have ever had, because in that moment I realized what was not working for me with non-formal education before, and I realized that I would like to learn actually how to work with young people and how to be able to support other young people development. All this was happening parallel to my own realization, to my own point of accepting who I am in terms of my sexuality and in terms of my gender identity. So that was a very important aspect and factor. I spent and actually I invested the next 4 years into my own education, because I do have a background in humanity and social studies, in formal education, but what I wanted to achieve, what I wanted to grow was into non-formal education. So then in those 4 years I was able to go back to the same organization. I was doing coaching and mentoring training. I was doing media trainings. I went back for the same project for 2 months, for 2 summers, to mentor young people, and I devoted myself into a non-formal learning journey in order to educate myself, and I was going through different other of trainings all around Europe within this international network of organizations. And I was studying also different trainers and facilitators. Practically, I'm kind of a writer, so not kind of, I'm a writer. So I was noting down and observing everything what other facilitators and youth workers have been doing. I was very lucky enough to have my own mentor for more than 9 to 8 years in the Netherlands with the organization. And then in 2014, I went back for a year for my long-term EVS project. And then in that moment, I went with the statement, I want to be a trainer, I want to be a facilitator, I want to learn and grow in this. And that was really helpful in that process. So from all the trainings and youth projects that I've been participating or assisting or being a co-trainer, I developed a set of skills and competencies that I carry till now, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing, because I believe that being a youth worker is not about, okay, I did the training and that's it. I see it a lot in many of our young people, and sometimes our youth workers, they participate in a 3 hours workshop or in one training, and then they're like, yeah, I'm a youth worker, I can be, but it's not that simple. So though I didn't have the formal education, I invested myself to educate myself and learn from the best out there people, and be mentored and fail, and then go back to being successful again in this sense. And with every little change, all this year, with every little, let's say, obstacle, like for now, COVID-19 has been an obstacle. There is still learning possibility and so on. And since 2015 till now, I am more secure and confident to say that, yes, now I'm a youth worker. I've been learning myself through experiential learning, through doing trainings, to participating, and connecting also with other networks. So not to have only one approach from one network I've learned, but the more I explore, the more I can realize and create my own style, the way I want to work with young people. And that was also when Active Rainbow came to life, and when I decided that I want to be an LGBTQ+ youth worker in this sense.